You're listening to the Unpenned Show with Paul and Andy, broadcasting live around the world. We believe freedom is free. It is enslavement that you're paying for. If you ain't mad by now, you're not paying attention.
Well, a very good evening to the show then, guys and girls. Thank you for joining us another Tuesday evening. It is Tuesday the 12th of February 2013. Hopefully you can hear me. Let's turn myself up just a little bit, make sure everybody can hear me okay. I have the other two musketeers sat in with me. Hello, guys.
Good evening, Paul.
Hello.
Okay. It is Pancake Day. Have we had pancakes? Well, I haven't actually. I've got a fish and chip shop, but a lot of other people had pancakes, so it's been a quiet Tuesday for me. Why do we call it Pancake Day? I mean, I don't think people can remember.
No, I can't remember why.
It's not really Pancake Day, is it?
No.
It's Shrove Tuesday, and I think this is a very interesting way to start the show, because Shrove Tuesday, the word Shrove is the past tense of the word shrive, and the word shrive is to confess. It is confess. That is the word shrive. Now then, what happened yesterday? What happened yesterday?
The Pope resigned.
The Pope resigned, the first one for over 600 years, citing ill health. And he resigned the very day before Shrove Tuesday, the day of confession. It's a means to obtain absolution for one's sins by way of confession and doing penance. Do you think the guy's got a conscience? No. But it is a very interesting timing of this resignation, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Because it came out on Monday, and today, because he's now resigned, is he confessing? Has he got a conscience? Look into those eyes. What do you think?
I don't think so.
I just see a cold, dark, staring evil in those eyes.
I don't think he's got enough time left on this earth to confess, really.
Maybe that's the case. I don't know, but I do know there's a very interesting prophecy, isn't there, regarding our next Pope. I'm saying our because I'm not even a Catholic myself. I don't know where the word our came from. But regarding the next Pope, there is a very interesting conspiracy that could be built around this next Pope. And we do have a new story on it, and the guys, as organised as I asked them to be, they're not ready, are you guys? You're not ready at all, are you?
I haven't got anything on that.
Okay, well, we do...
The conspiracy is...
Okay, well, the conspiracy is that this is our last and final... I've done it again, our.
Right,
this is the last and final Pope.
Bless you, my son.
All right, this is the... This is a prophecy from the 12th century, I think it is. And, yes, this is going to be our last and final Pope. I've done it. This hour thing, stop me, all right? Stop me. And the prophecy goes that he's going to be called Peter the Roman. And one of the favourites in the running is a guy called Peter. So that should leave the end of the world crew with another date in the future to imagine that could be the end of the world.
Civilization as we know it.
I think the prophecy goes that Rome will fall, the city will be destroyed, and this sort of thing.
Yep.
Do we believe any of that?
No.
No, I don't really believe it myself. I mean, I have come to the conclusion that everything I read on this this spy grid here has been put there by somebody.
Yeah, if it does happen, I'll hold my hand up and say I were wrong. Sorry,
well,
I didn't believe you.
I'll just say that I'm not convinced that I believe very much in this spy grid.
No.
Because this spy grid has been built to replace television. And television doesn't really tell us the truth about things that matter. It tells us about lots of things that don't actually matter, but it doesn't really come up with the goods when we actually demand the truth, does it?
No, it doesn't, no.
No, I mean, I still haven't paid my TV licence.
Good for
I'm
you.
waiting for them to come. They will come. I'm just waiting. I want to see what happens. It's not that I'm not going to pay it. I've no intention to go to jail for 150 quid. I'm not playing that bloody game. But I want to see what happens. I just want to see what process goes. Told you about the parking ticket last week. Still nothing.
Yeah.
Still nothing. Well, I think the 6 months have gone by now, so I think I'm pretty much, I'm still replanning to be given up on that one, haven't we?
Very good.
So, the Pope resigning before the day he could confess all his sins, and I think we're talking about hundreds of thousands of children. Because Mr. Ratzinger, before he became Pope, one of his positions was to head up the very office that was basically responsible for concealing all the stories that could escape about what on earth the Catholic Church had been up to, not this year, not last year, but for hundreds and maybe even longer than that. Anyone got into trouble for it? No,
I can think of.
Nobody's got in trouble for it. What's that old saying? If you've got a shoe fetish, you get to be a shoe salesman, don't you? That's your dream job, isn't it? Well, if you've got other tendencies, you join the clubs that let you get away with it, don't you? You do, and we live in very dark and deep times. I think we'll all agree with that, won't we now? The news is now giving us... if it ain't the truth, I don't know what is. And I'm going to ban the word truth, but... isn't the news a bit like us not being able to fight back? Isn't it like being in a boxing match?
Yeah.
Where we're actually switching on the TV or buying the newspapers or whatever every day, and it's like horror magazines out there. They're all horror stories. And it's a bit like being punched in the face. And because you trust, TRUSSED, you don't fight back.
No.
So these news stories which tell us about what's going on with their points and breaking news, we feel weak and helpless, don't we? We can't do anything about these things that are happening around the world and the things that are happening in our churches and our hospitals and our courts and our government. We feel powerless.
We feel helpless, yeah.
And isn't that the idea?
Powerless.
Isn't that the idea? Isn't that what the news is doing?
That's what they want you to feel like,
it's you know what I'm trying
pummeling,
to say.
yeah.
Pummeling us into submission, where we just think, oh, for God's sake, I can't take any more of this. So we don't. It just goes in one ear
and straight
out the other side. And we're completely numb, aren't we?
Yep.
This constant barrage of pain and horror, we're now completely numb. We have no feeling at all. In fact, what would be the word? Desensitized.
Desensitized, yeah.
We now don't care. We just say, oh, for God's sake, leave me alone. Let me get home from work and have my tea and
put the
telly on and have a couple of beers.
Coronation
Leave
Street,
me alone.
yeah.
I can't cope with this anymore. Meanwhile, the government of the day is attacking us every day by stealing our money and killing brown people in faraway lands that most people can't find on the bloody world map to basically steal their resources. Install a Western-style banking system. It's covered by the word democracy, which is to steal everything, re-educate the system or the children to believe this is good for them, and shoot anybody who doesn't like it. This is modern day democracy. And lots of people might say, well, if we're getting the oil, I mean, great stuff. do you see any prices going down at all?
No.
Are you getting anything? Are you getting anything back
any
for this
price
at all?
go down at all?
No, we're not getting a bloody penny, are we? No.
No.
I mean, they say austerity. Now we have to pay more
And get less.
and get less, or at least use less and pay more.
Yeah.
It sounds nice in that
It
way,
does
doesn't it?
sound- yeah,
So
sounds
if
nice,
you manage to insulate your house by basically walking around in a sleeping bag all day, if you manage to lower your gas consumption by 10%, well done, because there is not many months before the announcement will be made that another gas rise is imminent,
coming in
because the
around the
system is
corner.
falling to bits, and we need to provide new infrastructure and build windmills.
Yeah. And they
Bloody
call,
windmills.
and they call themselves the Big Five.
Bloody windmills. Where are we going? Only a little a little searching will tell you that these windmills are just a scam.
They are.
They're just a bloody scam.
They're-
If it ain't bloody windy, it don't bloody work.
It don't,
Right, and if it's
no.
too windy, they break up.
They
Right, they
have
actually
to
bloody break,
switch
don't they?
them
I mean,
off.
just Google it.
It's too
Windmill
windy.
breaks because wind is too strong. Well, wind turbine. Wind turbine breaks because the wind was too strong. This is nuts, isn't it? I mean, this is bloody nuts. I mean, how can we have got to the point where grown people, right? I'm saying grown people, I'm not saying adults. Where's the word people come from? Peon pile.
Peon pile.
Peon pile. We're the peons. If we're lucky. I think there's a class below that, by the way. But we're the peons. And the peon pile is us, the people. Where was I going? What to say?
Wind turbines.
Was I on wind turbines?
Yeah.
I was on... Can't we work out how the planet works? How the weather works? The weather works with a combination of sea and sun, doesn't it?
Does, yeah.
All right, the sea being the water, and the sun being the heat.
Heat.
I mean, this is basic steam engine technology, isn't it?
Steam heat.
Yeah,
yeah.
steam engine technology. I mean, nobody can really argue that we have the ability to actually to actually focus the sun's rays through a magnifier and create a beam at the end that will raise whatever it's focused on by hundreds and hundreds of degrees. We have the very power in the sky to boil water for free,
Yep.
with a little bit of magnification, of course. And that water creates the steam, which can drive a turbine, and the energy can be taken out of the steam. It's then condensed back into water. Off it goes round again. Crack on.
Yep.
Spain was doing it like that.
Well, but why can't we see that? Why do we have to go through these nuclear power station rituals, which I wonder if they are?
I wonder if they
I
are as
wonder
well.
if they are. Because what I've just described is a very basic form of energy that we should and could be using. I think technology's moved on considerably, from then, don't you believe?
I think what's in the power stations is not what we believe is in there.
I shall agree with you. I shall agree with you. And as they slowly shut down the coal-fired power stations, the dirty ones, so they claim, after making them spend millions to stay online for another year or two, as they slowly come to their end of their useful life, as they say.
I remember when we were at school, we were scheduled to go and visit a power station
All right.
in junior school, and it was cancelled, and we've never went. And I don't know anybody that's actually had a visit to one. Really.
I haven't been to a power
No.
station, so I don't know.
No,
I'd like to have a look at the inside bit.
I would. Yeah.
I mean, there's a thing on BBC Two a little while ago, and that was showing you about how modern day power stations work. But it was all, it was coal-fired and nuclear generated power stations. But I don't know really. I mean, I think there'll be.
We're told it's a turbine, steam turbine.
Well, they do use magnets and everything inside them. I think what I describe is what perhaps could be done on a very small scale for your own individual or perhaps small community. But these things are supplying whatever gigawatts, megawatts, gigawatts, whatever they are, whatever. I mean, I don't think we can quite build that in the back garden shed, can we?
Well, we
No,
do.
but on a small community level, people have done it.
Well, I know we could do it, but
Yeah.
why aren't people doing it? It's because they can't be bothered.
Centralisation
Well,
of
don't we
power.
realise now that we've got to the lazy bit, we've got to the weak age. Language is the word weak, we live in the weak age, and we want everything to be brought to us. We're almost, compared to 100, 150 years ago, aren't we sort of living like royalty?
Yeah,
To
yeah,
a point,
really.
aren't we really?
Yeah.
We live in our own if we're lucky, we live in our own warm, comfortable, well-insulated, nicely decorated homes, and everything that we need is piped into us.
Yeah, I'm of an age where I remember scraping the ice off the inside of the window so you could see out and see what the weather was like.
But what I mean is that we're living at a level that would have been unheard of 100 years ago. This was for royalty.
It was, yeah.
Inside
loos
we
and all
couldn't
this
have
kind of thing.
this.
No.
This was the big mansions. I mean, history will tell you that the 1800s, particularly the 1800s, those are the big mansions. I mean, they couldn't afford to heat them in the end. That's why they actually abandoned quite a few, didn't they?
Yeah.
They couldn't keep them bloody warm.
Turned them all into bedsits. Cold, damp bedsits.
But looking back, we are living like royalty. Now, I know we can congratulate ourselves on achieving this standard of living, but I think we need to remember that it's been done on debt.
Debt, yeah.
Now, they called it credit, because that sounds really nice.
They did, yeah.
It sounds like you've got some money, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Are you in
I'm
credit?
in credit.
Exactly. Because if they called it debt, we would never have bought it, would we?
No.
So let's call it credit and fool them. And the game is still being played, isn't it? I mean, look at the online gambling stuff. I mean, if people are going to fall for that, they're going to fall for bloody anything.
They will, yeah.
How can you play a machine and expect to win? The only mug at a poker table, it will be you. Yeah. It is. I don't know exactly where we're going, but I know where we've come from. And wrong way around. I don't exactly know where we've come from, but I know where we're going.
I knew what you meant.
If we didn't come from monkeys, there's one thing for sure. I have a feeling we might bloody end up there, eh?
Yeah.
Right, so Tuesday. We've done Pancake Tuesday, we've done Shrove Tuesday.
We've done
We've
the
got
Pope.
we've got rid of a Pope, as it were, and another one coming. I think he's a coloured guy, this Peter, by the way.
Yeah, he is, yes.
Now that will be interesting.
Pope. Thoughts just into my head. There's probably a note on the Vatican saying, just poped out.
I always look at that, the way to pay on the internet. You remember it? PayPal.
Yeah.
Now just say it. PayPal.
PayPal.
It's nuts, isn't it? I mean, is that how the language really works? Well, we tend to think it's sort of halfway does, don't we?
Yeah.
I mean, we try and decode Oceania, and we do have an awful lot of fun trying to do it. And I can't find this decode that you and I are messing about with now. Well, we've been doing this about 3 or 4 years, maybe 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years in total, but on the decode of the language, probably over the last 3 years.
The methodology was about 3 years ago, wasn't it? And I'm going to come back in a little while, because we actually told you last week about Black Mirror. Now, you saw it last night, and I saw
did.
it. Well, we saw it today, actually.
But saw it today.
We've watched it. And it was Stuart who introduced us to Black Mirror.
Was.
You're the only one that hasn't
Stuart.
seen it from last night. But I want to do a little bit of a decode of Black Mirror, do you?
Yeah, I'd like
because
to.
I think we've picked up quite a lot about really what that's all doing. The subliminals and the messages and the stuff. I don't think we'd have got it a little while ago, would we?
No.
We wouldn't, but we're sort of halfway figured it out now. Anyway, going to have a little bit of a musical break. We're sort of designing the show now to sort of 15-20 minute segments. Then we're going to play a little tune, and those segments are going to be broken up and put onto YouTube. Yeah, and I try to stay on one subject, and I actually never do achieve it, because when you talk, I talk, and away we go. Stop bugging me! Stop fussing me! It's my life. They do bug us in many ways than once. I mean, we have little spying devices. They're called bugs, aren't they?
Yeah.
And we've got a web. Yeah, we've got a web. I mean, if we actually sort of travel down the years, and I'm talking about the ages here, we've actually been different animals as the ages have gone by, haven't we?
Yeah.
Because we know the ages represent a period of just over 2,000 years. 2160, I think, is the number, isn't it? Which is the exact diameter of the moon, actually.
It is, yes.
I know. I digress.
Strange.
I know, 27.3% the size of the Earth, 27.3 days cycle, same as the women's. 273 days gestation, 400 times closer, 400 times... But back to it. The ages, right? Now, if we go back to what we understand to be written history, I mean, apparently we've been here millions of years, but we just figured out how to write about 6,000 years ago. Very interesting ideas we have about this. I mean, I personally think we're going through the second great flood, don't we? We actually think...
Yes,
we'll come back to that in a minute, and I'll explain why. And that is because we know we're travelling backwards through the cosmos. as the star signs actually appear, and Santos and Marty and Michael Tsar and all that. We've had all them, and we've asked them the question, and the answer is yes, we are travelling backwards.
Yeah.
Now, if we go back to Taurus, okay, that would take us to just over about 6,000 years ago.
About that, yeah.
Now, Taurus is the bull.
It is.
Okay, he is the bull, and bulls and cows.
Yes.
Now, in this reality we live, we still have bulls and cows, but we call them bullies and cowards. And we actually get to be those every day, don't we?
Yep.
If you want to take on a fight or a challenge, you become the bull, and you charge forwards. If you don't want to take on the fight, you cower. You actually submit, as it were.
Yeah.
So, the bulls and cows reality might be how we started, which was basically, you're going to fight or give up.
Yeah.
And that's about 6,000 years ago. If we move forward a couple of thousand years, the next stop is Aries. And that's the ram.
The ram.
Now, that's Aries, the ram, very much the Baphomet symbolism.
Yep.
Is that where it came from? I don't know. And people who say they do know are just reading a book that tells them it might be true. So it doesn't matter about arguing about whether that is or not.
No, that is or not. No.
But we know Aries is depicted by the ram.
The ram.
And the ram, its understudies are obviously sheep and lambs and kids. Well, we have that all, again, in this reality, as our families, don't we?
Yeah.
We do have families, and the family is pretty much the sheep, the lambs, the goats, the rams, that sort of thing. And the terminology, our language, actually confirms that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Little lambs and kids and the sheep to be fleeced and the flocks and that sort of thing, and shepherds, which is very much where we are today as well. But let's move forward again, because then we move on to Pisces. And Pisces is the two fish. Now, we are shrinking in size, aren't we? We are contracting, becoming smaller. And we know that this time is an age of contracts. And contracts is, in one definition, to become smaller, and the second definition is to act in your own worst interests. A contra-act. Well, that's what we're doing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And as fish, which is what we are, living in the world of SEE, with the money being the very liquid that we need to survive, the liquidity, cash flow, revenue streams, and currency, that is what the fish need to survive. In another realities, that's three realities that we're living in at the same time. Yeah? Now, if you want to research the word FIS, that is the word, that's the Latin word for you become.
You become.
So we just put an H on the end, and there we are. And look at all the things that we've got. We've got Findus.
Yes.
I mean, they have Findus. The bird's eye. Remember the bird's eye? And the reason why it's called a bird's eye is because he was picking the fish out. These are all advertisers' tricks, by the way. Where was I? I was Black Mirror. I'm off Black Mirror completely.
You are, yeah. That's. But
I know.
You were down the.
But we are the fish, and I think I'll finish it off like I was going to start it. We are being drowned in a sea of ignorance and debt.
Yeah.
And as the water level rises, our view becomes darker and darker and darker, because the light can no longer pierce the depth that we're being brought to.
Yeah, the fathoms.
Yeah, and exactly. We'll never bloody fathom this.
No.
But they've built the arcs, haven't they?
Yeah.
They've built the seed vaults. They've got the DNA. They can repopulate this planet. I mean, I don't know if they've done every single animal, plant, and whatever else, but I suspect they're probably somewhere near.
Yeah.
Would you say?
I would have said so, yeah.
So I think this is the second Great Flood. And if you listen to Mr. Tsarian, we're bang on time for it. Now, the next reality is Aquarius. He's the water bearer.
Now, this gets interesting.
It does get interesting, because Aquarius is the water bearer. Now, what do we live in? Well, fish live in water. But he's carrying a bucket full of water.
A water carrier, yeah.
Well, the bucket, he can't get out of the bucket.
No, yeah.
Okay, the Pisces, the fish, swims in the sea. But Aquarius is the water carrier. Well, the fish are still in the water. So the transition from fish is going to be that we're going to be put in a bucket. And we can't get out of it. Well, let's have a look at the internet. Let's have a look at the internet, because the internet is where all the fish are rushing into. And they get their keys and boards and go online and surf. This is the new playground for fish, isn't it?
Yeah.
But they're in the net. And once you're in a fisherman's net, you'll do very well to get out. Would you agree?
I would.
Stupid.
So there's another interesting point to that as well. Is a lot of the old, what could you call them, scriptures, and on star signs and constellations, they showed a water bearer pouring the water out. And he's also the water bearer. He's also one of 2 signs that's actually human. No, 3. Sorry, Sagittarius, part human, I suppose. So we're going from a fish into a human, but he's pouring the water out.
Interesting, but that's not the way it looks to me at all, I'm afraid to say. That's not the way we go.
Point,
no,
right.
yeah, but we're not... It's a nice idea, but I don't see the positive yet becoming so. Yes, we can turn this around. I mean, yes, we can try and fight these people with basically the truth. But I can't... I mean, apart from us 3, we've been trying for some time, haven't we? I mean, we really don't have a gang here in North Yorkshire that we can actually say are awake, aware and ready to actually do something.
No, all they want to do is argue about who's right.
Because the fish like playing in the net.
Yeah.
Right, they like playing in this. Now, this gets a bit darker and nastier because we're heading towards the web, aren't we?
Yeah.
Now, once you're in a web, you've become even smaller. In fact, you've become nothing but a bug or an insect. And you're not getting out of that web.
No.
Because that spider is coming to get you at some point in the future. So when we drop the word internet and start using the word web, we know that our time is getting a little bit closer. Now, I've been listening to Alex a little bit earlier, and he had David Icke about the nature of reality. The nature of reality is now being said by some German scientists. German, would you believe? That the illusory the illusory planetary system and all that we see is created by the power of thought. It's only here because we've been able to create it by thinking it is so. But they're also accepting that it is designed and it has a structured design after thinking it was nothing but confusion. So they're leading us to believe that we have the power to create, in other words, to continue creation, but we didn't create it to start with, which leaves the path wide open, doesn't it? Leaves the path wide open for somebody to come in and say they did create it.
They did create it, yes.
I don't think that's ever going to happen, by the way, but it's opened the door. It's opened the door for us to be looking up into the clouds.
Yes.
For, this, they always have us looking up, don't they?
They do.
We're looking up, what are they doing? Pull your bloody pants down into your pockets while they're doing it. Yeah.
Doing whatever.
Now, Black Mirror.
Yes.
Okay, third attempt to get there. Black Mirror, Channel 4 last night. If you didn't see it, you'll catch it on 4OD. The clicking you can hear is Stuart who keeps lighting his cigarette. It just does. He just can't keep it going. It's like a little stick, isn't it? Anyway, Black Mirror, Channel 4 last night. If you didn't watch it, please get it on 4OD. Your decode. We started today, didn't we? I'm not going to give you the whole story, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a decode that we have for it. And that is that this is a young couple who moved to the country after, I think it's her mum dies, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they moved to the country, and anyway...
Want a little restart.
And basically the guy is a complete technophobe, isn't he?
Yeah.
He can't take his head out of his phone. And at some point she actually looks at him and said, that thing is a thief. And that confirms that we call this the time-stealing machine.
We do.
The internet is the time-stealing machine.
Steals your time.
It does, it steals your time, and you spend your time for free.
And we remember the first...
Time computers was the first computer I had as well, yeah. Anyway, moving on. The actual guy is a technophobe, and we don't actually get to actually know how he dies, but he dies.
He dies.
He dies, and anyway, the gist of the story is that one of her friends says that, look, you don't have to suffer like this. You basically can, and it's an application that she gets signed up for. And this application says, look, we can actually troll the internet and pick up everything that he's said, everything that's ever been recorded. We can pick it all up for you, and we can perhaps bring him back to be able to speak to you. And after being spooked tremendously, she decides that okay, I'll give it a go. And she does.
She does, yeah.
And she does, and basically, she thoroughly enjoys it after being spooked to the point of being terrified and horrified and she finally accepts.
She bowed to temptation.
Yep, the devil always does that, doesn't he? Always asks if he can come in. And I think we should remember that in this control system, that he has to ask. If we say, no, that is not the future we're having, then protocol says that they won't do it. Because if you look at all the vampire films that have existed over the past, 10 years now? Okay, all the vampire films, they're teaching us the protocol. They come as your friends, but you have to invite them in.
Yeah.
And they do not hide what they are. They don't hide what it is that they do. You have to invite them in. Well, what have we got? We've got an endless supply of teenagers, I guess, now and higher, who love this stuff. I mean, they're basically trying to familiarise us with the control system. It is the revelation of the method they're giving us, if you choose to actually decode it properly, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're telling us exactly how they're doing it, but people are not doing it. Back to Black Mirror. Okay, now she does, but after speaking to him on the phone for what appears to be, a considerable time, and she's always speaking to him on the phone, she's got no other friends at all, she completely shuts herself away, she speaks to him on the phone, the voice is so accurate that she forgets that it's pretend, and she speaks to him like it's real. A complete dream world, yeah?
Yeah.
And then it moves on, and she said, and the actual voice that's speaking to her says there is another level to this. It's only in beta phase, but there is another level. And we're not told what it is until a big box arrives. And in there is what looks to be... It's a mannequin, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
It's a faceless mannequin wrapped in...
Gel
and
bags.
ice.
Yeah, gel and
CO2.
ice.
And she puts it in the bath and adds the magic ingredients, which looks like fish food. That's a quote from it, isn't it?
Does, yeah.
And she's told to keep out of the bathroom until the next day.
Don't put the light on.
Don't put the light on, yeah, which is very interesting, wasn't it? Anyway, sure as she has her own avatar that looks exactly like her partner.
Yeah.
We won't spoil the ending.
No.
We won't spoil the ending, but it gets deep and dark and uncomfortable and disturbing. And perhaps what we'll do is, rather than spoil the ending, we'll put the 4OD link below the YouTube video and go into our full decode of it next
week.
Because then people can actually disagree with us.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, I think we'll let the full decode go, but it's deep, it's dark, it's uncomfortable, it's nasty, it's got the agenda written all over it. Yeah? So shall we leave it at that?
At that, yeah.
Okay.